We got a great video from Peace World.
So the trending thing is for you. Do you start at the root? Where do you start? Because aren't we supposed to be doing what's trending?
I don't think she'll cut it.
So here we go. Get the hell out of here with that dumb shit.
The reason why it won't work, if you saw she hesitated, then she was asking, like, where should I start from? Just cut the damn hair, lady.
Since I told the internet that I'm voting for Trump, I've had so many people message me telling me to myself, body shaming me because I'm pregnant, saying that they hope my baby dies, etc., hoping that I get raped, hoping that if I have a daughter, she gets raped. And I hope you all know that you are the reason why I voted for Trump. I have some left-leaning views, but part of the reason that I have swung so far right is because how can I trust a party or a people that say that they stand for love, equality, treating people fairly, yet they go out and treat others exactly the opposite of what they say they advocate for? If you think that you can make progress or earn votes or encourage people to vote blue, but you're on this app telling people to themselves because they have a differing opinion than you do, it will never work. The average working class American who is voting in an election does not care about your social media virtue signaling justice warrior posts. You can post as many infographics as you want on social media, but at the end of the day, if you're a horrible person, nobody is going to agree with what you have to say. And I think that the distress that has been caused after this election also just goes to show how much propaganda that the left has fed their supporters. You guys are believing literal lies. The world is not ending. Things are actually going to get better. And that's why so many Americans voted for Trump. Because we're so tired of you guys lying and being hateful and trying to say that you stand for something but completely acting the opposite way. We're tired of you, and that's why we voted for Trump.
Most of them do show up as your friend, your best friend. They have your interests, but most of them, they are wolves in sheep's clothing.
What did I say yesterday? We are human beings, right? The first thing you have to do to get people on your side is be likable. If people don't like you, they will find reasons to vote against you. And this is exactly what you're seeing here. Beneath all the virtue signaling that these feminists and these liberals do is a lot of nastiness, a lot of hate, a lot of vile, disgusting mental issues. There's a lot underneath that. And there may be issues that a lot of people agree with you guys on, but they look at you and they go, I don't like you. I don't want to stand with people like you. You have to fix it.
Brainwashed, bitchy, bitter, and now bald. I think I finally understand the 4B movement.
This so-called 4B movement going on in the States at the moment is actually beyond disrespectful to women. I'll say this, you are allowed to not be happy with the results of the American election. If you want to go online and say fuck Trump and all of that, fine. Whether people agree with you, disagree with you, doesn't really matter, but that's an opinion you're entitled to have. But going online, shaving your heads so that way men will have nothing to do with you, their words by the way. On one video I saw of a woman doing it, so that way men will just have nothing to do with her and she will repel men, is so beyond disrespectful and rude to women who have alopecia and are going through chemo treatment at the moment. I can't even begin to put into words.
It's not how feminists operate. Do I think the feminists were trying to call those women ugly? No, they just didn't think about them because feminism and feminists, modern feminists, only think about themselves and things affecting themselves. So they didn't even take into consideration the women who are battling with cancer, alopecia, none of that. That's not on their mind.
Not just that, do any of these women who are doing this realise actually how privileged they are in life? Claiming you have no rights or you're losing your rights while you set up your phone, most likely your iPhone, which will be costing at least $1,000, in a tripod, making sure you get the perfect lighting, to then get a shaver or some scissors or whatever, film yourself shaving or chopping off all your hair, and then posting it on social media to prove a point. The actual 4B movement going on in South Korea, Frankly, this makes a mockery of it. And claiming to have no rights, I'm sorry, it's an absolute mockery. I've always said I'm a feminist, but a traditional feminist where I just want equal rights. This new wave of feminism to me is absolute bullshit. I'm sorry, this has really ticked me off because I just feel so sorry for any woman who has alopecia or going through cancer treatment or anything else, any other reason why she just doesn't have her hair. And you have all these other women saying, I'm doing this the way, men will have nothing to do with me, they'll hate the way I look, they think I'm disgusting. Do you not realise how disrespectful you're being to actual women? And saying you don't have any rights? There are actual countries in this world where women really have no rights. The legal age of consent in Iraq is being lowered to 9. In Afghanistan, women aren't even allowed to speak in public, have no access to education, aren't allowed to show their faces, their hair, or anything. Not a choice, they're not allowed. They can't drive. Literally have no rights at all. All because you disagree with what the majority of Americans had voted for. This is what you do, claiming you have no rights. As I said, you are entitled to not like the election results. No one's going to say you're not. But the amount of privilege coming from the videos on TikTok with these women doing it is just frankly disgusting. And so they're saying you have no rights? Really? I'd ask any woman who's taken part in this 4B movement to actually go over to Afghanistan, to go over to experience what the women in South Korea are living through, to go to Iraq where the legal age of consent is going to be lowered to 9. Then please tell us what rights those women have, because clearly they're so privileged, according to you. I hate Trump as well, by the way. I hate Kamala. I think they both suck. But one thing I'd never ever do is try and make myself seem repulsive and horrific and so-called ugly by shaving my head and essentially making a mockery of thousands, if not millions of women who have sadly lost their hair for numerous reasons. Truly disgusting.
Look, I've broken down the history of feminism on this channel. I've done it on my second channel as well. Feminists have always operated on the basis of privilege. And because they are so privileged, their privileges are blind to them. When you actually start asking these women, what rights don't you have? They cannot articulate.
Then like abortion, what kind of rights do you feel like women don't have in America?
Oh, wow.
What do you think?
Gosh, that's such a good question. I guess it's not necessarily right, but there's not enough female representation in politics.
Yeah, that is a good question. I think women should have the right to feel safe. We deserve a government that supports us.
The right to feel safe. So it's not about rights, it's about feelings.
And she's out there. How is she getting out if she's not feeling safe? I mean, law enforcement is there. There are laws against GBV to protect women. So why is she not feeling safe? Or she feels she doesn't feel safe. So it's a feeling. So like maybe she's experienced anything terrible. So like he put it, she feels.
Korean women have no idea what the 4B movement is, and we need to stop this misinformation.
Okay, so thank you to my friend Annie for making that video, because I am a Korean woman currently living in Korea and I have so much to say about this topic. So most of the 4B movement videos that I've seen on TikTok are made from foreigners, and I think Korean Americans or just Asian people living in the West, but not actually people living in Korea. So like I said, I live in Seoul. What I think is happening is the Western media likes to really pick up on these sensationalist, provocative topics and then makes it into an article, and then everyone on TikTok follows suit and makes videos about it. But let me tell you, I am 29, going to turn 30 this year, and literally all the conversations that I have with my friends around my age.
Can we just point out if she's not married, she's hit the wall? Would that be offensive? No, that's not offensive. So she's hit the wall if she's not married.
About, oh my God, we're looking to get married. We need to find good partners and we need to do this before it gets too late or we're just like aged out of their marriage market, you know? And I just made a YouTube video about this, Korea's population crisis, why nobody's getting married or having babies. But I also explained there are services in Korea like marriage matchmaking services where people go and you pay a broker and you submit all this information about yourself, your income, your assets, your family background, if you have any debt, like which university you went to, you submit all that information and then they take that and then they will try to match you up with people who they think that you're on par with. So you know how you see in K-dramas how like the poor girl ends up marrying the richest CEO of Korea? Yeah, in reality that never happens. So people go to these marriage services and they're heavily used. There are literally so many in the country because everyone is using them. And so the 4B movement in Korea is a very, very small fraction of the whole Korean population in general. It's just the Western media likes to highlight that part and make it seem like it's the biggest issue in Korea, which it really Really, it's not. I can promise you that. Don't believe all those sensational articles written online all the time. Most people in Korea still like the other sex. We want to date, we want to find love, we want to get married. Those are like the big majority. And it's only the small group of extreme radical misandrists and extreme radical misogynists. They just seem like the loudest because the most attention goes to them. But yeah, I literally just dropped a YouTube video explaining about this whole thing. So go watch it, Annalie on YouTube.
Feminism is a divisive ideology. That's what it is at its core. It's the reason why I despise it so much, because I'm all about bringing people together. The idea that in Korea, the 4B movement is a tiny movement, very small, extremists, right? It's like you have the misogynists, you have the misandrists, kind of like everywhere. But these feminists grasp onto the movement and try to make it out like it's this big deal, like there's this big divide between men and women, because it benefits them. Because that's what the movement is about in 2024. They have nothing to fight for. No rights, nothing to fight for. They have no real struggles. So they have to create an illusion that there's this big divide between men and women. Because in reality, they just hate men. That's all it is.
Bro, y'all should have been started the 4B movement. Celibacy the wave, you know what I mean? Anything to reduce the thoughtfulness, you know what I mean? The thoughtfulness, you know what I mean?
Parliament is on the verge of passing a law that would allow girls as young as 9 years old to be married. This includes allowing parents to arrange marriages for their young daughters. Social activists, Sunni religious leaders, and women's rights groups who oppose the proposed amendments have organized protests to denounce the government's efforts as an attempt to legalize child rape. If passed, this...
So now, this is what you can call losing rights, because like at 9 years old, what does a 9-year-old know? This is I can't even try to think about it. You've seen how bad it is. Like, you can't.
This law would put most, if not all, decision-making power over family matters in the hands of clerics, who could disregard human rights and social repercussions. Child marriage can lead to unhealthy sexual relations, in a report on child marriages in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. The proposed legal change would also remove critical protections for divorced women and would strip protections regarding inheritance and child custody. The Iraqi parliament, driven by a conservative Shia Muslim coalition, would amend the nation's personal status law, which was established in 1959 and has been considered a progressive safeguard for families. According to UNICEF, 28% of girls in Iraq are currently married before the current legal age, which is 18. If the proposed amendment passes, young Iraqi girls could face early pregnancies and related delivery risks, as well as even scarcer chances of education and economic well-being, according to Hiba Abdul Wahab, executive director of the Middle Eastern Women's Organization. She says the proposed amendment also risks legalizing temporary marriage contracts conducted by religious clerics known as pleasure marriages. This practice enables men to enter marital relations with an unlimited number of women for as short as just a few hours or as long as just a few months.
That is truly disgusting. That is clearly a way that they've found to skirt around their religious beliefs so they can sleep around within the confines of marriage, even though they aren't really married. That's actually disgusting. I didn't know that that was a thing. That's actually caught me off guard a little bit, I can't lie. But if feminists really cared about women, which they don't, they only care about themselves, they'd be shining a light on topics like this, but they don't.
This video is for women who are saying that women in America are not oppressed, and specifically white Republican women who are getting on this app and saying that, oh, American women are just whining, they're not oppressed, they don't have it bad, just tells me that they are not very intelligent. And I'm not saying that to be rude, I'm saying that to be clear. Saying that American women are comparing themselves to women in other countries and other demographics is wildly misleading, because American women are not saying that we have it worse than others. We are saying that we have it worse than the generations before us in our own country, which is a warning sign to slip into even more oppression. Women oppressed anywhere is women oppressed everywhere.
What generations? Wait, let me just, before I get upset, let me just.
And I think what those types of women fail to recognize is that radical shifts do not change overnight. We slowly and silently get our rights stripped away and then get the finger pointed in our face saying it's not a big deal, you don't have any rights slipping away. If a woman in the 1970s was more free than I am in 2024, that is telling me that we are going in the opposite direction of liberation. And it will require resistance to keep that from going in the wrong direction.
What has changed? I need to know. Because you as a white woman will claim that you're oppressed today, right? And I'm guessing because I'm a man, I'm an oppressor and I'm a part of the patriarchy, okay? Explain to me what's changed. Because 200 plus years ago, white women owned black slaves. What has happened in that 200 years that has flipped? So now that you as a white woman have become oppressed, what has been the change? How have things gotten worse for you in that time period as a white woman? Let me know. So this woman was trolling the 4B movement, right? Clearly, she made a TikTok post saying something about this 4B movement makes me want to have another baby. And someone in the comments said, have you been picked yet? Trying to call her pick me. And her response was beautiful.
Let's just be honest. Let's just be real.
Absolutely cooked.
Oh, yeah. So, lonely, divorced, and single women out there, they want other women to also be single or to divorce their husbands, because now they have been going through all the hardships, you know. Imagine somebody who's been single for a long time. They've never been married. They're in their 40s. And they've not experienced the privileges of having a husband to provide for them, even if she's working. You find that most of the household expenses, they are being paid by a man. Investments are being made by a man. And also, if it is debt that is being accumulated per household, that debt is being accumulated by a man. You understand? So now you find that they've never experienced those privileges. All they do is to try to be like men, to try to compete with men. You understand? And I mean, it can be, it's a tough situation. Hence, sometimes you find that there are these mental issues, you know, because it's not an easy job. If you ask any man if it's easy to provide for a family, it's easy to do all what men do, it's not an easy thing, especially maybe if you're a woman, because you don't have the mental setup to be able to do those things. So you find that you get into your masculine and then you start doing all those things. But it's not a healthy situation, being strong and independent. You have so many lonely nights and yeah, and without a husband to, you know, and especially if you've hit a wall, you don't have a consistent boyfriend to to be by your side, and hence maybe why there's so much toys out there for women. Have you ever thought why there ain't so many toys? Or if you check maybe for people who are in their 40s, you check, you find that if you pick 100 men in their 40s, maybe you're not gonna find maybe one with with toys. You're not gonna find a man with those things that people are selling. You understand? And then, but like for women, you find that there are these toys that they have. What does that show you? Of course, those women can say they don't like men, they are strong and independent, or they don't want men, but why do they get those toys with shapes of that of a man? If they liked women, don't you think they'll get toys with shapes of that of a woman. Of course, I'm going off topic here. This is just to show you that most people that say they don't need men, or they scream on top of that, it's they need us. I think they just become delusional to start thinking that they don't need men. And reason why that happens, I can explain, is because past a certain, like, women throughout their life, they've always looked out for men to help them financially, to provide for them, and all that. So if you take away those things that men do for women, women feel like they don't need men. You understand? They feel like they don't need. No, I mean, so even this 4B movement is just because of few lonely women that maybe chose their career, or maybe that became delusional. Some were misled in the early stages. They thought they don't need men. Some because they can't just get men. So instead of just them crying in and become cat ladies, they want to start some movement so that they can find other people who are in that situation and they start to comfort themselves. I think I've talked too much and I'm going off topic. So this 4B movement failed before it even started, because there are so many women out there that want men. There are so many women out there that want to reproduce. There are so many women out there that want a family. There are so many women out there that just want to be housewives and have a man provide for them. You know, some, they want a man to provide for them. Well, they also do something. Maybe they've started an online business. They're doing something for them also to earn some income while the man is doing something, or is providing and doing all the investments. Maybe it's a job, which is maybe may not even be paying as much, but they are earning something for them to do what they want as an individual. And I guess at the end of the day, if you are happy, your wife, she's happy doing some work, earning some money, and then that makes the family happy, you know, you raising healthy kids, why not? Why not? So, to the younger ladies out there, maybe if in case you stumble on this channel, I'm here to tell you that don't be misled by older women that are going through it. They've hit the wall and they're going through it, guys. Oh, yeah.
Also, I'm going to speak for Black people for a second, because I know a lot of you guys aren't going to actually listen to Black people. They have shared the sentiment, but I'll go ahead and share it myself.
White women literally think that their voices are central to our experiences. They think that Black women's voices are secondary to theirs, especially.
Well, according to you feminists, women's history is women's history. So, like, what's the difference between a white woman's voice and a Black woman's voice in the eyes of a feminist? If women's history is women's history, right?
When it's about our lives, like our behavior, our motivations, and a lot of you lack so much self-awareness. You are stuck in your progressive woke bubble that you guys actually dehumanize Black people very clearly, and you don't even see it. Humanizing someone literally means that you afford them the full spectrum of human emotion and capability. Sanctification does not equal humanizing. Black people are flawed. We are capable of being problematic, reinforcing white supremacy, and being xenophobic, as we are blatantly seeing on this app at this very moment. But surprise, we have white women like this creator making excuses for it, just for the simple fact that we're Black and she's trying to get her cookies and her brownie points for being woke. And last time I checked, liberation does not come at the expense of sacrificing another group of people for another group's comfort. Like, y'all are literally not feminists. How are you feminists when you're excusing anti-Arab racism and xenophobia from Black women? And the funniest thing is that she goes out of her way to actually point out that she personally does not agree with the comments of people saying they're going back to Starbucks. And she's doing this because she knows that it looks bad. That this type of narrative will actually ruin her reputation if she actually aligns herself with it.
So you guys are battling to see who's the best feminist? I mean, damn. Can we not all just get along?
And so what does she do? And she chooses to stay silent and hold no one accountable for it. This is peak white feminism, because a lot of white feminists don't actually do things because it's the right thing to do. Optics are a lot more important for them. She's talking about how much she cares about the Black community, how people never show up for Black women. while she watches all of these black people and all these black women literally ruin their reputation. These women will literally yas queen you into destroying yourself, your image, and your reputation. They will stand back and watch it happen. And it's because they don't actually care. These types of people, they view blackness in relation to themselves and how having black friends, advocating for black women, how it makes them look, because they don't actually care about the status of black women. It's literally all for show.
Although I agree with what she's saying, this is absolutely hilarious. You know, you have a white woman who, she tries to defend the black people who are going back to Starbucks and they're like, we're not dealing with you guys anymore. We're not people of color anymore. The white woman's trying to defend that because the black community wanted the other minorities to vote with them, but the other minorities didn't, right? So the black community is like, we're done with you, right? The white woman's defending that. And you have a black woman who's like, you're trying to defend that because it makes you look good. It's like, oh my goodness gracious. You speak about a divisive group, right? Even within your own family, right? Your own, there's division and there's war about who's the better this. Bruv.
Guys, thanks for watching and subscribe to the channel. I'm Benzo. Shout out to Peace World for this amazing video. I'll see you in the next one.